Going on YouTube, Cloverbell's here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today is week 7 of the Shuckle Premier VGC Draft League hosted by PokeaimMD, aka Joey. And our opponent today is another VGC legend. It is James Baek here. So if in our last episode, if you missed it, we took on another VGC GOAT. We took on Aaron, Cybertron, Zheng. We were able to get the 2-0 win thanks to the services of Scraggy, our 1-point pickup, and as well as Calm Mind, Ursaluna, and a little bit of Glastrier assistance. So this week, we're playing yet another VGC legend, as I said. I just want to know who made my schedule, man. Why is it getting harder every single week here? But, okay, so planning for James was also very stressful, a little bit difficult, because James could go about this a couple of ways here, which I'm going to tell you when we preview his team a little bit, but at least I'll show you the 6 that we're going to bring. So we're going to go with Murkrow, of course. We didn't bring Murkrow last week, but we are going to bring Murkrow this week. We're going to go with Blood Moon or Ursaluna. We're going to go back to the standard Life Orb set over here. We're going to bring back Aaron, Zheng's son, and we'll see if he could do anything this week. You know, with the Choice Scarf set here, which we'll show you why we have a Choice Scarf here. We're going to go and come back with the AV Glastrier here, and Great Tusk and Typhlosion are going to round out our 6 here. It's going to be Specs Typhlosion here, and I'll explain why when we look at the OTS here. So, but this is the 6 that we decided with. I went back and forth quite a bit with a couple mons here. I wanted to try and also utilize Brute Bonnet here, but I think with James having the option of just going with safety goggles, you know, his glasses and his Encore disable stuff with Screamtail, I felt like maybe I just leave that thing behind and just go with a little bit more offense and try and break through here. Okay, but let's go ahead and take a look at James's team here, and let's see what exactly we think from what could come from his squad. All right, so this is James's team here. Now, prior to week 5, James made a little bit of an adjustment to his squad. He dropped some mons and added some mons. He added the Screamtail in free agency. I was like, oh, why? How in the world did no one in our league pick up Screamtail here and allow James Baek to get Screamtail when he's got Dondozo and Ting-Lu? Like I guess we're also partly to blame because we didn't see that either, but James picked this thing up from free agency, right? And we know what Screamtail can do, you know, VGC-wise, right? We've seen what it's been doing in regulationG. It's a great partner with Terapagos and, you know, with a few other restricteds because, again, you can just do, like, Encore disable locks, okay? And then now what you could do is with Dondozo and Ting-Lu, you could either yawn things and trap them, or you can also do, like, Ting-Lu Sand Tomb stuff and trap them and make them take chip damage. And then if you're able to do like the locks with Encore disable, they just struggle. They take big chip damage from themselves, and it's just not fun, right? So you basically don't get to play the game. So we were aware of that, okay, just by looking right away from the squad that James has. We also see Dondozo Tatsugiri, right? Now, again, you can have both of them together, and then you can just dominate from there, which is why, like, Haze Murkrow was something that we definitely considered and just immediately slapped into the builder first thing. But we also know that Dondozo doesn't need Tatsugiri to do well, especially on a team like this, when you can just be, like, a support set and just go, like, yawn shenanigans with, like, body press and then just click protect. And, you know, if you're oblivious, we can't even taunt you anyway. So, yeah, it's just a little bit of annoying. Then we see, like, the standard hyper offense stuff with... That's not a Talonflame, that's a Fletchinder. So you can do, like, Fletchinder, Glamora stuff, Fletchinder, Goldango, right? And then clean things up in the back with Dondozo, potentially. You could leave that if you want. The Zapdos also is a good mon here. Again, you know, base speed 100 Pokemon. It can get access to Tailwind here, but it just pressures, you know, with a lot of our stuff technically, right? Our Great Tusk and our Brute Bonnet suffer at the hands of a Zapdos, you know, because of the Brave Bird and the close combat. And then I felt like, you know, it also pressures our Glastrier as well. So I'm like, oh no, this is not good. I don't want to deal with Galarian Zapdos there. So that was one thing that was on our radar as well. I don't know about the Shaman here. I think if they do bring it, it would realistically just come for maybe our Rotom Wash, which, you know, can do a little bit into James's team here. Like, again, we have the water coverage, you know, for stuff like Gomora, Ting-Lu. We have electric pressure into the Fletchinder, the Zapdos, of course. But, you know, realistically, the Shaman, we're going to say it doesn't really come, okay? I don't know what James is going to use that for. Probably just for that, just to pressure water types. But yeah, that's like what we're looking at, you know, just from eyeing the team just from an outside point of view here, all right? So now we're going to show you what we have prepared for this week to try and combat this. All right, so this is what we have just in terms of our open team sheet. So the Murkrow, realistically, I wanted 5 moves here, and I was going back and forth with some of them. But Tailwind was, of course, a mainstay, along with Haze, right? We had to respect, you know, the Dondozo Tatsugiri stuff, right? Then after that, I just wanted like at least one attack here. You know, I was going back and forth with like Foul Play, you know, do Wing Beat, maybe Air Slash. And in the end, I just went with Air Slash here, right? Now, Sunny Day, I was also going back and forth with that and also Taunts because, again, the Screamtail is annoying, right? You know, especially with those Encore Disable locks. So, you know, we did have Taunt there, you know, for a while. Then we went back to Sunny Day because, you know, we needed some damage with Typhlosion and Great Tusk. But then we went back to Taunt because Screamtail was going out of hand in the mock drafts. So back and forth I was going. So in the end, I just went with Sunny Day just because I needed some damage, you know, coming out from stuff like Typhlosion and or the Great Tusk. But, you know, just in terms of how we deal with the Screamtail, we can show you just in a bit. This is where like Rotom with the Scarf and Trick comes into play. So we could trick away, you know, something from the Screamtail and then just, you know, have a Scarf here. And now you can't really click your support moves for that matter. So and then force a switch out with that, right? So yeah, that was like one way we could deal with it. The AV Glastrier over here also has Heavy Slam, so that's another way we can deal with it. Ice Go Crash can pressure, you know, the Ting-Lu. It can pressure the Zapdos if we have the speed advantage. You know, I did not have Trick Room here. Realistically, I could have probably brought that with something like Farigiraf over here and instead just left Murkrow behind, but I still wanted Haze on this team, you know, just to like kind of respect it. So, you know, I did leave the Farigiraf behind for that reason, right? But high horsepower, again, just to pressure, you know, something like a Goldango for that matter. And then this last move here, I could have put, I was, you know, going back and forth with a couple moves there. Crunch was an option just to, again, also try and hit Goldango. The Terra Water was for Goldango just to try and resist the, you know, the Make It Rain stuff if James did decide to bring that. But in reality, maybe I just get lucky with a little bit of a paralysis hit, right? So I was like, all right, let's just go with Body Slammer. I don't need Crunch. I'll just, you know, click high horsepower and then we're just kind of fine from there, right? The Ice Spinner, so that's like another tech that we have on the Great Tusk. That's just to, you know, first of all, Terra Steel just to resist maybe a Brave Bird, and then just go for something like an Ice Spinner. But realistically, if James sees my Terra, like, oh, he's just gonna, you know, read into that. Maybe, who knows? But Ice Spinner into, you know, the Zapdos, Ice Spinner, and, you know, just a little bit of chip damage into the Ting-Lu. But of course, we can always just click close combat into that if the Ting-Lu doesn't Terra. But then the Blood Moon here, again, just a standard Blood Moon set here with the 2 stab moves and the Hyper Voice stuff with the Earth Power and Blood Moon. And then the Typhlosion, I just wanted like some raw damage output here. I like sometimes, you know, just leading with it just to get some information and just using Rotom, you know, for speed control with Electro Web that way. And then Typhlosion can outspeed a lot of things and just go for raw Eruption. So, you know, it was an option. I could also have Typhlosion in the late game for cleanup duty after things like, you know, Rotom, Great Tusk, and Glastrier have done a little bit of chip damage in the beginning. And then if I have the advantage, I can just go for these raw Eruptions, right? So that was my thinking process there. And Terra Grass Solar Beam in the Sun could do a lot into something like a Ting-Lu if we have to, if it has taken enough chip. So yeah, that was the thought process there. But yeah, you know, just finding the right tools was a little tough. Again, I felt like we had at least something for, you know, what James could have. You know, Haze for Dozo, Trick, Scarf, and Steel coverage into the Screamtail, ground coverage for and fighting coverage for stuff like Goldango and whatnot. And also Ting-Lu technically, right? But yeah, and ultimately, this is what the 6 that we're going to bring. And hopefully we can do enough and maybe even take the set against James here. All right, so without further ado, we're about to start. I think James is waiting now, so let's just go straight into the battle here. Okay, all right, so as expected, there is the Screamtail there. There is the Ting-Lu. All right, we are aware of what those guys can do. We do see the Shaman and the Goldango. Okay, very interesting. I can't say I didn't expect to see the Shaman there, but probably that's for my Rotom, realistically. There is a Glomora as well. So, oh, there's no Dondozo this week. Okay, well, he left it behind. So no Tatsugiri either. All right, very interesting. So I do like Great Tusk as a play here. I think Great Tusk looks quite good. I don't know if we can bring... I guess we could bring Typhlosion if he has the Shaman stuff. Alright, it depends. Like, are you gonna lead the Screamtail Ting-Lu into me, or are you gonna do something else? Right? So, okay. What we can do is we can at least find some information first. Alright, so we'll lead these guys, and then we could bring... We can try and bring Glastrier, I guess. Or Great Tusk, and then just Murkrow. We can try it like this. This is a little tough. I'm not really sure where James could lead here. I do expect a Glamora lead here. But if not, then I do expect Screamtail and the Dozo. So we're going to find some information immediately. You know, within the first review, because we have the first stuff. Okay, he did also send me the Terra. So it is Screamtail, and it is Zapdos. Okay. So, a couple of things. Alright, we find the Light Clay. Alright, and it is AV. Ooh. Okay, so it screens Screamtail. So is that just Light Screen Reflect? And then the Encore stuff? Oh, I didn't expect this. But he does not know that we are Scarf. But he has the AV, which is unfortunate. I can trick away his Light Clay, but I'm not really sure what that realistically does for me. I can just... Well, but I can also just trick the AV away and still go for the Eruption. I don't know if that really does anything. So this is a tough one. The Zapdos is also Terra Dragon, which isn't all that great. So, I guess what I'm going to have to try and do is just do this first. And we can still technically go for a Shadow Ball here. But it's also quite difficult here. I'm not really sure what he wants to do. Honestly, let me just E-Webs. Let's see what he can do. And I'll still click Eruption anyway. I'm curious. Alright, so he's going to swap the Zapdos. So he withdraws that. Okay. Alright, there is the Ting-Lu. Yeah, I did expect this swap. Alright, so this is what I thought he would start with. Okay. He sees the E-Webs. Of course, not going to do anything. But we do get to E-Webs the Screamtail, do a little bit of damage. Okay, and we do go for the Eruption. Should do some damage too. That's pretty good damage into Screamtail, I'm not going to lie. Alright, and there is the said Light Screen. Okay. So, but honestly... Oh, what is this? Oh, it's lefties. Okay, leftovers. Alright, and his Ting-Lu is a Terra Ghost option. So, Typhlosion not really going to do a whole lot here. I can E-Webs again. It's not really also doing that much here. I can go back into Great Tusk. And I can still try and do like more things. Maybe get a little bit of a boost, right? But now that he has the Ting-Lu on the field. But again, this is still like specs. And I still have the speed advantage now. So I can still click Eruption and still deal a little bit more damage into the Ting-Lu. I'm just going for chip damage at this point. I'm going to swap out the Rotom here. Okay, so we did see Light Screen. Okay, here comes our Murkrow from the back end. Alright, we're gonna go for another Eruption. Would love a crit. Okay, that gets the Screamtail in range. Alright, and there's the Reflect. So he gets all his screens up. Oh my goodness, I wish I had Scrafty here. Alright, Throat Chop into Typhlosion. Does knock it out. Wow. That actually killed. Okay. Alright. So, that being said, and it is lefties again. Do you have Protect? That's a lot of damage. Okay. I have to kind of pressure that Great Tusk over there with this guy. Okay, now the cool thing is we do have Ice Spinner. Okay. I could also go for Sunny Day now, but I don't want to boost the Screamtail here. So maybe I can just Air Slash this thing. And maybe I can go for the Ice Spinner now into the Ting-Lu. It's going to be close. He does have... What is that? That is a Terra Ghost there. So he could just do that. I also have Headlong Rush. He could just swap back into the Zapdos. So I'm not sure if he wants to burn the Terra now, but I will try for this. Let's see if this works. He's going to swap the Screamtail. So he doesn't want that to die just yet. Alright, he's going to go back into the Zapdos. Okay. Kept the AV there. Does protect. Okay. And now he knows I have the other move. Okay, the Ice Spinner. Alright. So he gets a little bit more recovery. The Zapdos is Terra Dragon. Okay, but I do get the Air Slash into that thing. That is so bulky. He has the Assault Vest, of course. Alright, now we can click Tailwind. Okay. Does it do anything? Okay. Now, you have Ice Spinner to a lot of these things. The Zapdos is Terra Dragon. He can't really use that against him, but he could just swap the Screamtail back again. I could also Sunny Day, technically, and then just go for something there. I might have to Terra Steel as well. I don't want to reveal everything. This is a tough call. I do need some damage here. I want to actually just do this and click Ice Spinner and see if this is going to work. Yeah, if he doubles into the Great Tusk, that's not great for me. But let's see our speed interactions. He might be bulky Zapdos. Okay. Alright, but again, we are getting this attack boost, so I do need some damage here. Alright, we are faster, so that's good. Oh, that's so bulky. Okay. What was that? Is that Throat Chop? Oh, yeah, oh, it was knockoff. Okay. Runation. Okay. Alright, so now we've seen Throat Chop, Protect, Runation. Okay, still not tearing. Alright, now, what else can I do? This is still like kind of tough. I might try and just go for Tailwind here. Again, we put a lot of things in range, so I'm okay still. He could just Terra Ghost right now, which is okay, because again, Typhlosion could do a little bit more now. I will just go for the close combat. He can kill my Great Tusk here, but yeah. Well, we'll see if he goes for the Terra right now. If he goes for it, great. I could have also probably just clicked Headlong Rush, but yeah, we'll see what he decides to do. I think he's thinking about it. Okay, he's gonna swap the Zapdos. Alright. So I guess he wants the Screamtail to come in and get... Oh, it's Goldango. Oh, okay, so now we know everything. So Goldango comes in. Alright, we go for the Tailwind. Okay. Alright, and we do get rid of the Great Tusk here. I mean, the Ting-Lu. Okay, so that's a good removal. Alright, and we do pressure this Goldango a little bit with the Typhlosion in the back. We just have to make sure we preserve the Murkrow. Alright. Now, he might go into the Screamtail here. Alright, and he goes back into the Zapdos. Okay. Does go back into the Zapdos. Now, the question is, does your Goldango have Protect? You are AV on that Zapdos, so I know you can't do a whole lot there. Now, the question is, can Rotom... Oh, wait, no, Typhlosion died. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm so stupid. Oh, so your Goldango's Terra Fairy as well. Not great. Ice Spinner to Zapdos still doesn't kill. Goldango's free to set up. But I do have Terra Steel here. Alright, what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna try and get a flinch there. And I still want this Headlong Rush into the Goldango. It may kill, it may not, but I think this is my best play. It's gonna swap the Zapdos, okay, into the Screamtail. Baiting. Okay. I think Murkrow might be able to pick that up. Not sure. But I think this is where the Goldango does go for... Alright, well, that's us. The question is +1 Headlong Rush enough into that Goldango there? We are Terra Steel. We can take one. Realistically, I still have a Rotom. Okay, and there is the Terra Fairy. Okay, what's your Goldango speed here? Okay. Are you bulky? Can you take that? I think you can. Goldango is not chopped liver here. Alright, so we go for the Headlong Rush. Yeah, it does survive. Yeah. Okay, so lives. Okay, alright, we don't even pick up the Screamtail. That's so unfortunate. Make It Rain comes out. Alright, oh my goodness, that's way too much damage. Alright. Now we have a Rotom and a Dream. Unfortunately, I don't know about this Dream. Realistically, we're just gonna have to keep spamming E-Webs here. But I don't even think that's enough. Rotom, I mean, yes, Goldango's -2. Okay. Not -2, it's -1. So it is Life Orb. Yeah, losing Typhlosion was not amazing. Okay. All right, here is the Rotom. But of course, he does have screens. That's why like a lot of my damage is just not killing. You know, this is also where like break would have been great if I had the Scrafty. But yeah, now the question is, what do we do here? We can start just keep clicking Thunderbolts and whatnot. We can resist, but again, he has the Ting-Lu in the back, so he knows I'm Scarf. I have to lock into something. And I am in the sun, right? Yeah, that's the only thing about the... So if I lock myself now, then we just lose. So honestly, what else can I really do? He can protect with the Screamtail. I don't know. I have to just go for these raw Hydros here. But it's not looking great. Let's just get the Ting-Lu in. We're going to try and hit. So we do at least take the Screamtail. Oh, we get a crit. I don't think that crit mattered. I would have liked to save that crit. Okay. And this is just a Shadow Ball. Again, that's still like more than enough damage to get Rotom out of here. Oh my goodness, that's way too much. Okay. Alright, and there's the Zapdos. Yeah. Yeah, GG's from James, bro. Actually, no, wait, I made a miscall there. Wait a second. I got confused for a second. The dark symbol on the Ting-Lu, I thought that was something else. I just realized the Ting-Lu actually died. That's just on me. I think that's nerves just getting to me. Yeah, I think realistically, I could have just E-Webs, right? And then at least I have something for the Zapdos, but he is also like AV. So yeah, that's just on us. Alright, I guess we'll just try for the Goldengo here. But yeah, that's just on us. Okay, Goldengo does live. Yeah, that's on us. We mistake that. Let's make that read. Okay. Alright, so GG's to James, game 1. Alright, I have to do a little bit of a different job with the Typhlosion here. Okay, so we learned a couple things. So it's actually just Screamtail. He's not doing Encore Lock stuff. He's lefties, Ting-Lu. Yeah, no, that Screamtail is still annoying. I think I have to just like trick that thing. Okay, and what else can I do with it? I guess I can bring in Glastrier. You know, that AV is not going to save that Zapdos, but it's going to be tough later. Alright, what are you realistically doing, Murkrow? Blood Moon to play? Could be. He brought Goldengo here. Now, the other problem is, like, if he preserves the Ting-Lu, gets rid of the Glacier, then it's kind of cooked, because then Typhlosion can't really match it. Maybe I leave him behind and just go with Great Tusk here. I think Great Tusk could be another bring. And now he knows that I have Ice Spinner, which is good for me. I do have a Sash. Maybe it's this. We leave Typhlosion home. Let's try this. Let's see what James has here. I gotta tell you, I did not expect Screamtail for this. But yeah, that's just on us. Let's see what happens here. All right, if we can trick away the thing. All right, there's the Screamtail Ting-Lu stuff. Okay. All right, so we have a few options. We can just go for the Icicle Crash right now. He can swap the Ting-Lu into Ghost. That would be a thing, but I can't let him do all that again. So what I'm gonna have to try and do is just trick away his Light Clay stuff, and then just honestly go for Glory here and go for the Icicle Crash into the Ting-Lu. Let's see how much damage we can do with this. He can ideally swap into Goldengo here, or just Terra this thing, which he might do, but yeah, I think I just have to pressure this Ting-Lu at least somehow. All right, so we get to trick the Screamtail. All right, he can have our Scarf, I guess. Okay, so we take his little Light Clay. He goes for the Reflect. All right, so he's gonna survive this ideally, but yeah. All right, there's the Runation. That's really good chip from him. Okay, that does a lot of damage into Glacier. We do connect on the Icicle Crash. I would love a crit. Okay, but that doesn't even do 50%, so that's a problem. All right, and it's lefties. Okay, But he can't click. This is where I actually wanted to bring Typhlosion, right? Because now I knew that he would actually just click Reflect here, but now I don't have a special attack anymore. All right, but that is all he's clicking on the Screamtail. So now we can pressure a little bit and just click Hydro Pump here. And he can't click Light Screen. Okay, and ideally we just try and click the Icicle Crash. He might just live. Not what I want to do, but yeah, we're just gonna try it. All right, he's gonna swap the Screamtail. Okay, what comes in here? It's probably, okay, yeah, it is Goldango. I thought it would come into the other slot here. Okay, he probably, oh, okay, Rotom doing what Rotom does best, and he does miss. Okay, and it is a Throat Chop into my Rotom. Okay, we do connect on another Icicle Crash. If we hit that, this Ting-Lu is cooked. But we didn't. And he didn't even click Protect. That's unfortunate. Ah, Rotom, you did your best there. Okay, so now we're in a tough pickle. I can chip the Goldango a little bit more, but yeah. Realistically, I just have to go for another Hydro Pump here. You know? I could Hydro, again, get the Ting-Lu off the board. He might just preserve it. He does have Protect on his Goldango, so I have to just try this. And I don't want to take a Make It Rain on Glastrier, but I may not have a choice here. Yeah, and then like Great Tusk is just gonna have to do all the work here. So what else can I do? I guess we just try the Hydro and we'll give him the Glastrier. I don't really know what else I can do here. I think he just swaps that. Yeah. Yeah, we did not quite have the board state for this, but I think Goldango just goes crazy here. Alright, but we are faster a little bit. Oh yeah, he's very slow, Goldango here. Alright, and there is a Shadow Ball going into the Rotom slot, which we do live. Okay. And Glastrier, I guess, picks up a KO. I think, maybe. From this range? Okay, we do. Alright, so we do get the Goldango here. Okay, Chilling Nay, yes. But let's see what happens from here. We do have the Murkrow that can click Tailwind. And we do have a Great Tusk later. But Reflect is still on the board. There is the Zapdos again. Alright, with this AV. Reflect is still on the board, but again, only 5 turns. So I can still do this. I may just actually just Terra this thing now, but yeah, I think I can just let him kill the Glastrier. And then from there, we do some stuff. I could... What else can I do? Can I Terra Water here? Would that even be worth it? I think he just kills. I think he's rather bulky. I don't think he wants to let the Glastrier sweep here. I am +1. I think, either way, the Terra on the Great Tusk is not necessarily going to help me. So what I'm going to try and do is chip. Screamtail is not a threat here. He is Terra Dragon. I'm going to hope I survive and then just go into the Zapdos here. I just need to chip him. Okay. And maybe Great Tusk can finish the game later. Who knows? Alright, we are going to Terra Water. I don't know if we live. If he's a Salt Vest, I would assume he's bulky. Alright. So we go for a Tailwind. I don't think there's a world where Glastrier is going to outspeed. But you never know. Alright, there's a chip from the D-Gleam. Ooh, it puts the Glastrier in range a little bit. Post combat? Yeah, no, that's just, yeah. I mean, that's, what else could I have done there? I mean, he does drop his defenses. Okay. Because, like, close combat was going to kill my Terra Steel anyway on my Great Tusk, so, you know, I had to at least go for it. But at least now we get this up. Okay, but he did click Reflect. Okay, and that's the only thing about this. So, from here, what else can I do? D-Gleam is not great. I think I just have to try and go for a flinch. What else is in the back? It is just a straight Goldengo. No, it is a... Over there. Okay. So, I'm gonna try. He did just drop his defenses. Is this his last turn of Reflect? It is. If he doubles, not great. Sunny Day would be... But he doesn't have light, so maybe this might work. Okay. And I just have to try. You know, I honestly just have to try here. Alright, so there's the Ice Spinner. Okay, a little bit. Alright, I would love a flinch. Can I get a flinch? Okay, there's the D-Gleam. That's too much damage. He went for the Murko. Yeah, that's the right play. Yeah, this was tough. I mean, should Typhlosion have been my last one? It could have been. Alright, the thing wears off here. The Screamtail is just doing way too much damage. He can just let it stay in here. There's not really a whole lot I can do. But yeah, I'll just try and pick up a kill on the Zapdos just to pad my stats a little bit. But yeah, GG's to James, man. You know, we were calling Dondozo stuff. We were calling Encore locks. But I didn't expect Screamtail here. But yeah, GG's, man. I'm just wondering, like, what else could I have done just in terms of... You know, we did Scarf the Screamtail. We let it switch out there, but... You know, the Goldengo coming in was also just not so great. Alright, so that was it, man. Yeah, I gotta be honest. You know, just in terms of the prep, James was the toughest one on our schedule, right? You know, but... You know, we did what we could. We did our best. I felt like we had some tools, but ultimately, you know, just in terms of getting our positioning, I think just James was better in terms of his prep and his play, right? So we'll chalk it up, all right? At the very least, we can say, you know, we took Aaron, right? We lost to James, but now we have to look ahead into the final week for the host himself, the final boss, Joey, aka PokeaimMD, right? So. We gotta start planning because we need the win to try and get into the playoffs, right? This is our last shot, okay? So hopefully we can, you know, put a nice little ending on our little Cinderella run and see if we can actually sneak into the playoffs there, all right? But anyway, that's it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.